Angel-6942 calling in. Angel-6942 calling in. Angel-6942 calling in. The date, human news, is Friday, the 17th of September 2021. Sorry. I've been having these headaches and the throbbing in my head feels like my head's going to explode, and it comes and goes. I think it's subsiding at the moment. The big news this week is that some girl called Emma had won a big tennis competition called the American Open, and apparently it's a big surprise that she had done this because she is something called a debutante. And now I had to look it up, what a debutante is. And apparently it is somebody who, a lady specifically, who has come of age to get married and have children, and that she has to be presented into society in a big ball where she meets the king and queen in a place called Downton Abbey. Though I'm not quite sure what that has to do with tennis. Anyway, the big news is, and the big excitement is, that she came out of nowhere to win such a very big tennis match, and she's become a bit of celebrity with newspapers asking about her, and she's been interviewed on TV in American television in their talk shows, and she's been at a big celebrity ball wearing big dresses. Though I'm not quite sure how she could fit that big dress into a tennis bag. But anyway, she had one, big dress. And then when she came back today, a lot of people interviewed her in the morning on every single channel, asking exactly the same questions. And I think she's going to probably put the trophy, when she gets it, because she doesn't get the real one, she gets a copy, on the back shelf we all saw, with the other trophies we all saw, and the books. And I think she had a blue wall. But anyway, now, a lot of people were very happy and celebrated and congratulated Emma, and they felt proud that she was British and won it, because apparently it's a very auspicious thing for the British. Though a lot of social media were very, very angry that some people celebrated her winning, saying that because her father was from Romania and her mother's from China, people that voted for Brexit were no longer allowed to celebrate or be happy for her. Though I don't quite understand, because I thought China wasn't in the European Union. But maybe it's a bit like the Eurovision contest and Australia. You know, anybody can say they're part of the European Union, though nobody can say you can never leave. It's a bit like a sect, I think. Anyway, the other big news is that there's been another protest by XR, And there's been lots of people that have been on motorways gluing themselves to the motorway, and police have been trying to sort of move them, probably using a lot of nail varnish remover and scraping with probably lots of skin on the tarmac and the tyres. Anyway, and apparently these specific protesters are protesting that about insulation, and they said that the government has not done enough about insulating buildings in the UK, and that a lot of elderly people are going to freeze from the cold as the planet warms up in climate change. And they had a spokesperson from something called Insulate Britain. Though I'm not quite sure if that's back to Brexit again. Insulate Britain. I don't think so, but I can't be sure nowadays. But anyway, and they said that it was a no-brainer, and that having more insulation reduced carbon emission or something like that. And a lot of people were arrested and had handcuffs put behind their hands, probably very sore hands because they've glued themselves to the tarmac. But some of the policemen were very, very nice to the protesters, asking if they were comfortable or not, how they were doing, if they wanted a McDonald's takeaway, about the family, things like that. But this made a lot of drivers very, very angry. And a lot of drivers started arguing with the protesters, and even led up to a physical altercation where one of the drivers tried to sort of remove the protesters physically, but then the other drivers all pulled him back. But it's quite understandable because a lot of the drivers drive for a living and have to deliver things. So, and they're on very, very tight contracts and timings and very, very strict bosses. So they're worried about losing their jobs. You know, all types of people that deliver food or materials, like insulation materials for sort of insulating buildings. The other big thing in the news was coronavirus again. Now in France there has been a law that if people were not vaccinated by Wednesday that worked in healthcare and care, they would lose their jobs. And apparently this is going to be, or this is something that a lot of care homes are going to do in the UK, if not done already. But there's lots of arguments, people saying that people should be vaccinated, that they're a danger to people, and people saying that we don't have enough carers and there won't be enough people to sort of be a carer. Though I suppose if carers infected people with COVID, then there wouldn't be so many people to care for, so it sort of solves its own problem. But anyway, in Scotland, they've issued something called a vaccine passport to go to nightclubs. And I think this is when vaccines need to sort of wind down. They can show their passport and they can go dancing and drinking. Though in England, they're not having vaccine passports. Presumably because nobody likes watching a very drunk vaccine try to dance and pick up people. It's not a nice sight. Now, since lockdown has happened, there's been a lot of something called alfresco dining, and the news reports that this is going to continue until for ages and forever maybe, after lockdown. Now, alfresco dining is when people eat outside rather than inside, and apparently when a bit of the lockdown started coming down, a lot of restaurants could put tables outside because there was a bigger risk of passing on infection inside. So it was better for people to eat outside, as the total strangers sort of streamed past them, breathing and coughing all over their food. Yeah. Now, Bojo has announced his new plans for COVID in the winter. Plan A is jab, 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 jab a bit more, jab, 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 jab the people they don't want to be jab, and jab. Plan B is if jabs don't work, put on mask, 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 put on mask everywhere, and then don't touch each other. And plan C is lockdown. Now, this has made a lot of people very angry. Half the people are very angry because we're not having lockdown right now because they say COVID cases are rising and more people are dying. And the other half of the people are very angry that lockdown is still on the table because they said they're going to lose their jobs and we're all going to be very poor. And also, Bojo announced that children between the age of 12 and 15 are going to be offered a single dose of the vaccine. And this is whether or not their parents agree with them. So the children's choice would override anything the parent says. Again, a lot of people are very angry about this because they said that they were eroding parents' rights and that children didn't have enough wisdom and intelligence to make an informed choice. Presumably they sort of switched the channel when Greta Thunberg or these adverts where children tell people to do things about climate change happens. And they also say that they're worried about the bullying about children that have not had the vaccination by children that have had a vaccination. So the children that had vaccination will bully the children that didn't. So it could be the other way because children are famous for being sort of bullying, a lot in school. There's a lot of bullying in... What's that?